Hello, third graders. This is a continuation of Math Expressions 2018, Grade 3, Unit 4, Lesson 12. In my last video, I misspoke and the video abruptly cut off after that before we could talk about the corrections that needed to be made. So let's go back and look at number 27. The question was, how many students did not choose teacher? And so the strategy I used, I just went and looked at all the other career choices other than teacher, and I added them together to find the sum. So doctor, veterinarian, firefighter, give us our number that we're looking for to answer this question. And when I added those together, last time I said 115. And then I actually accidentally wrote 115 up here. To be honest with you, I do that quite often. That's why I always like to go back and double check my work. When I went back and I double checked my work, I caught my mistake and I was able to fix it. So you can see that I've actually changed the color here. How many students did not choose teacher? 155 students. Since I actually already did these, I'm just going to go through and talk you through these problems again. In this problem, 28, I actually had to go back and change my work because when I misspoke on 27, I carried that over into 28. And I used my answer from 27, even though it was wrong, to find my answer for 28, which made 28 wrong. But when I caught my mistake on 27, I came back and I fixed my work. How many students in all were surveyed? Well, when I looked at this, I knew that in 27, I had already calculated doctor, veterinarian, and firefighter. The only one that I needed to include now was teacher. So I used my answer from number 27. Now don't forget, I made a mistake and I had to come back and fix it. 155 is the correct answer. So when I added 80 to 155 to get my number, that got me 235. And you can see that teacher, the bar graph goes all the way to this line here. And when I reference down below, that's how I knew that there were 80 students that were choosing to be teachers. The other strategy that I could have done was not use number 27. And honestly, if I had used this strategy instead of using my previous answer, I might have noticed my mistake sooner. 60, which is our doctor, plus 80, which was our teacher, plus 65, our veterinarian, plus 30, our firefighter, would also give us the number. But I wanted to do a little bit less work and I wanted to use what I already knew. I'm glad that I found that before I posted everything. Let's look at 29, which I believe is, yep, that's the last one for your check for understanding. How many more students chose doctor and firefighter combined than veterinarian? So remember that when you hear the word more, that this is an additive comparison. And I always want to use this template so I know what goes where. The number who has more is on top. The number or whoever has fewer is on the bottom. And in this circle part, a different shape, is how many more or how many fewer. So I had set my template up and I knew from the way that the question was worded, how many more students chose doctor and firefighter, that I annotated my template with D and F. So I knew that doctor and firefighter went into this box here. Veterinarian is the other comparison that we were doing. And so I put the 65 down here. Our unknown number, which actually answers the question, how many more, goes in the circle. You'll notice that in the one who has more, I actually wrote another equation. We had to figure out first, what is the combined total of doctor and firefighter? So doctor was 60, firefighter was 30. I was able to use mental math because we've practiced this quite a bit in my class. I don't know about you, but I know that 60 plus 30, I could do 60, 70, 80, 90 to get my total. And I actually circled it because I knew that that was ultimately the number that I wanted to work with. Because one of my add-ins are what's missing, I know that this is also a subtraction problem. 90 minus 65 equals our number. And you can see that I wrote my equation right here. I then stacked it vertically. I ungrouped a number, which mom or dad would call borrowing, but we are taking one of the 10s and we're unpacking it here to make 10 ones. So we had enough to calculate our answer. How many more students chose doctor and firefighter combined than veterinarian? 25 more students. When you feel you have a good grip on these, you can always move forward into a Think Central assignment if your teacher has given you one. My students do have one. Your check for understanding down here is asking you to write an equation that you can solve number 27. Now, 27 is the one that I made a mistake on in the first place. And I believe that if you followed my deal strategy, which because this is a broken up video, I'm going to take it back. Nope, I did it here. Take it all the way back to the first one to remind you what I'm talking about, just in case you're watching this later. A stands for annotate, circle, underline, box in any keywords. D stands for a math drawing, and that's what we were doing here when we were doing the additive comparison drawing. E stands for equation. Now, that's what I'm asking you to show me specifically on that check for understanding. Rewrite, make it plain, make it obvious to show that you understand how to solve it by showing me which equation you used. A, make sure that your answer is correct. L, make sure that your label is correct. And so for number 27, how many students did not choose teacher? What equation did you use? I will be honest with you that the way that I did it is not the only way to solve that problem. It's the way that I chose to solve that problem today. If you want to see a different way, talk to your teacher and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Teacher, can we do number 27 a different way? Is there a different way to solve that? I bet you that they would love that. Make sure that any questions that you have, you are asking your teacher for help. How you learn is by practicing these skills, making mistakes, and fixing them. If you have any questions, reach out to whoever's in charge of your learning. See you soon.